It's because God wants you to stop enabling that man's mediocrity. I'm talking about the effort that he's putting forth. I'm talking about the competence that he's displaying to you. I'm talking about the amount of care that he's taking with your heart, with your comfort. I'm talking about the amount of times that he's considered you before he let something come out of his mouth that was insulting or had some kind of undertone of humiliation and contempt. Like, stop enabling his mediocrity. And I know you said, well, D, how am I enabling his mediocrity? You're enabling his mediocrity if you're giving multiple chances for something he should have never got wrong the first time. You're enabling his mediocrity if you sitting there teaching him stuff that honestly he should have learned in his home whenever he was growing up. You're enabling mediocrity if you're trying to raise that man into the version of him that you know that you need, instead of him feeling like, let me get myself together. Let me make sure I'm good enough for this woman. Maybe I wasn't initially because, you know what I'm saying, she just ahead of being whatever, but let me acclimate. Let me rise to the occasion instead of bringing her down and telling her that her expectations are unrealistic. Y'all know how that goes. Stop enabling his mediocrity. Can we all agree to that? Matter of fact, put I down in the chat. I want to know if I'm talking to anybody. Put I down in the chat. You ever dealt with a guy in the back of your mind, even though you knew that he wasn't a horrible guy, you just said, this can't be it. And you didn't even have nothing that he had broke you, he ain't betrayed you. Put I down in the chat. I want to know if I'm talking to anybody. I was talking about this last night. Something went wrong on the live. A couple of y'all may remember, so I'm going to do a little review. Because some of y'all wasn't there. Maybe a few of y'all were. But especially for empaths, I need y'all to understand the concept. If he wanted to, he would. Like all the stuff that you come in knowing, you got all of this equipment to make a relationship work. You got all of these conflict resolution skills. You got this vision of a life, and you know that if you apply yourself, that you can impact a situation. But here's the thing: when you're dealing with a grown man who's choosing not to, your willpower ain't gonna have no impact on that relationship. The relationship is a two-person project. Your willpower has impact on your life, your success, your educational level, your self-love, your self-esteem, your confidence, your energy. That's what your willpower can have 100% impact on. When it comes to a relationship, it's like trying to carry a couch by yourself. This is a two-person job. You can drag it, and guess what happens whenever you drag it? It's gonna be a lot of damage getting done. Same thing happens whenever you fighting for that relationship by yourself, or you just think you're gonna will it into being a healthy relationship, an equally yoked relationship. No. That man has to choose on his own volition to show up in a certain way. Now, ain't no man perfect, myself included. Ain't no man perfect. Ain't no man coming in being able to read your mind. Ain't no man coming in knowing exactly the specific ways that you need to be loved, per the ways that you've been affected in your past, or per the ways that, you know, your desires are set up. Nothing like that. But there are certain things you should not have to tell that man to do. You should not have to tell that man to just be respectful. You should not have to tell that man to lower his voice whenever he's talking to you in times of conflict. You should not have to tell that man more than once that you are into chivalry. You like your door open. You like your chair pulled out. You like a man that walks closest to the street. That's what you like. You shouldn't have to tell him that over and over and over and over again. You should not have to tell him not to do things to you that he knows he would catch a fit if you did it to him. In terms of how you deal with other people, the amount of access his ex gets, his baby mama, or whatever, the amount of attention that he shows other women, you don't have to tell a man that if he truly cares about you. And the one thing you definitely don't have to tell him is to show some effort. Talked about this last night. I'm gonna say it again though. A lot of y'all over rely on your intuition. And I know that may come as a shock because we talk about the intuition, you know, being on this pedestal, and it is beautiful. But just like anything else that's good, it can be used for bad. And I'm not saying by you. Over relying on your intuition is using it in situations where you should not have to use it. Like, for instance, use your intuition to know whether or not this man cares about you, loves you, respects you, cherishes you, prioritizes you. You shouldn't have to tap into your intuitive sense, your spiritual gifts. You shouldn't have to do that. There are certain things, even though a man can't read your mind at all, there are certain things a man should be making blatantly, overtly obvious in his care for you, his vision for the future that you guys can have together, his intentions for you, whether or not he's safe. These aren't things you should have to read between the lines. Look on the line. If it's saying that he don't care, I promise you, says he don't care. And anything else outside of consequences, outside of you standing on business, outside of you standing on whatever boundaries you set, anything outside of that is you enabling his mediocrity. And I'm talking about at best. Because some men come with mediocrity, some men come with straight malevolence. Some men come with straight maliciousness in terms of their intentions. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt here because I don't know who you're dealing with. But I do know that if you're watching this, it's for a reason. If you have questions about the man that you're dealing with and you can't go to him and get clear answers, or you look at his actions and you see there's such misalignment, there's no one straight answer to you about the question that you have, you likely are dealing with a man who's giving you mediocre, bottom tier effort in a relationship. And again, you shouldn't have to go read no big old book to know whether or not he cares. I'll tell you right now, if you express something to that man and you don't see anything change, or if you express something to that man and he's defensive or he's in any way hostile or reluctant when it comes to taking accountability, just on a verbal level, that man don't care nothing about you. He don't. I mean, the verbal part, that's the easy part. If he can't even do that, if he can't even say, you know what, I see where I was wrong. I see why, you feel the way that you feel. If he can't even do that, you definitely can't count on any actions to follow. So you can't come to me and hey, look, I'm your big brother. I'm always going to be here for you. I'm going to hold it down. But I can't do nothing about that. I can't help you help somebody that don't want to be helped. And I know that you lead them with love. I know it's not low self-esteem. Sis, I know you're not dumb or unintelligent. I'm going to tell you why you've likely even stayed this long in a situation, and you may not like the answer, but I just want to keep it real with you. More than likely, in your last relationship that didn't work out, you had some doubts as to whether or not you left too soon. One, the love was still there. Even though you couldn't continue to apply yourself in that relationship afterwards, the love didn't just go away. And you wondered if you missing him meant that maybe y'all was supposed to continue working through things. Then two, more than likely, the next person wasn't a whole lot better. Could have been worse. And had you thinking, well, shoot, I could have just stayed with somebody. I started all over new and this, that, and the other. I done went through the pain of heartbreak to leave that one man just to come in and get enough. And so now you're in this situation and you're saying, all that time that I spent thinking about my ex relationship and why it went down and whatever, all the things that you did not do, kind of come back and say, oh, but maybe I should try that. Maybe this time I'll have peace over leaving if I first exhaust everything I know to do. Y'all, stop doing everything that you know to do to save a relationship. Derek, you over here trying to tell people to get divorces and just break up and leave first time. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is, just like the intuition, there's a time and place for everything. There's a right and a wrong way to use everything. If you got all of these conflict resolution skills, if you got all of this patience, if you got all of this ability to forgive, that's fine. Exhaust that in a relationship that is worthy of it. Use that with a man who's actually putting forth the effort as well. Don't use that to try and save a sinking ship. And the man that's supposed to be the one steering the ship is the one driving the holes in it, and you sitting there trying to exhaust it. No, you got to get, y'all, one of the best things you'll ever do that's going to protect your heart is to learn how to leave it broken. Learn how to walk past a mess. Even though you got the ability to wipe it up, clean it up, because we were all taught that when we were growing up. Oh, don't just walk by trash you see it, get it, pick it up, put it in the trash. Don't walk by a mess, wipe it up, clean it up. When it comes to relationships, no, there's sometimes you just got to walk past that mess. You got to be able to see a mess of communication, a mess of connection, a mess of distrust, a mess of inconsistency on his part, a mess of disrespect. You got to be able to see that mess and walk right past it. And in a relationship context, that means walking right past it and out of the relationship. No, I'm not fixing that. I see something that's wrong. But at a fundamental level, I also see a person that can do a lot more than what they're doing, and they ain't doing nothing but letting me suffer. I see that too. And because of that, I'm going to keep it moving. One of the best things you can do, and this is going to be especially difficult for the empaths out there, because your heart ain't set up like that. Why? Because you remember being a mess, and you need somebody to come and clean you up or take a little time with you because but look, everybody ain't got the same heart as you. When you ain't in your mess, more than likely, first off, it probably started in childhood. When you needed, like you were dependent on somebody to help you and see you and validate you and support you and be patient with you and have grace with you. That's a whole different story. You are an adult now. You're dealing with people who have the ability to choose. They have their willpower. They have their intentions. They have what they do value and what they don't value. And it's going to reflect in the decisions that they make. If he's showing you, if he's reflecting that he does not value you or the relationship he can have with you, you got to learn to walk past every mess that's in that relationship, including him. Because you know they'll give you the sob story. Oh, I'm just going through so much. I'm just, so busy. I got so much on my plate. You do. And a lot of it is BS and you trying to serve it to me. No, I'm walking past it. Like that's the mentality that's going to protect you. That's the mentality that's going to end this cycle, this pattern of mediocrity that you're presented with. Because people can bring anything to you. That don't mean you got to eat it. I got kids. You got kids. And they bring you some play food. You don't actually eat it. You're presented with it, but why don't you eat it? That's not real food. Like it's not nutritious. It's not edible. Like it'll probably send you to the hospital. Like that, right? But you're presented with it. So stop thinking that just because you got presented with something, one, it's a reflection of you, or two, you got to partake. You don't. Am I making sense to anybody? If I'm speaking to you, if I'm speaking facts, if I'm making sense to anybody listening, put I down in the chat. Put I down in the chat, or share this right now so somebody else can come in on this conversation and get this truth too. Because probably somebody, one of your friends, one of your family members needs to hear this truth as well. It's not enough people talking about this, man. Like as an empath, as a woman who cares, it's hard to give up on something. But ask yourself this: as you are struggling to give up, as you're struggling to let go, what's slipping between your fingers? What are you actually having to let go in order to hold on to this relationship? Are you having to let go of your focus every day? Like when you at work, are you consumed with the last couple of arguments and how this man has played in your face like he ain't understand nothing that you said, twisted everything around on you, manipulated and gaslit you, and you can't even get the same amount of work done that you would normally get done? Is that slipping through your fingers in order to hold on to this relationship? Is your weight going up and down when normally it wouldn't, strictly because of the stress? Meaning your physical health, your physical shape slipping between your fingers, dropping because you're trying to hold on. Are friendships around you starting to suffer because your friends can't get through to you? They care about you. They see that he's hurting you. But now you got to get hostile with them just to stop them from showing how much they care about you because you want to hold on to somebody who clearly don't care about you. I know I'm going to step on some toes today. Like, really, what's going on? Like, as you're refusing to give up on this, and you know what? I was talking about this last night. The irony is, as you're doing everything you can to hold on to that man, hold on to that relationship, best case scenario, because it's not really the best, he gets his act together. He starts doing everything right. You ain't even going to be the same version of you. Like, that's the part that's really leaving. As you're trying to keep him from leaving or keep yourself from leaving a relationship, you are leaving whether you know it or not. You just being at war in a dynamic that's supposed to be filled with love is changing you. Because as humans, that's what we do. We adapt to our environments. If your environment is disrespect, cold-heartedness, neglect, if it's mishandling you, carelessness, tactlessness, abuse, betrayal, if that's your environment long enough, and it don't take long if you really love this man, you will acclimate, you will adjust to that. And as you adjust to that, you become, just by law, incompatible with the exact opposite. All of the things that you know that you love and deserve and wanted out of this relationship. So what does that mean? Whether from him, the man that you're trying so hard to fix things with and keep things going, or from even another man that God has truly sent for you, you will not be the version of you that can receive it. Think I'm lying? Somebody in the comments, put I down in the chat if you've ever asked a guy for all of these different things in terms of how to treat you well. And by the time that he decided he was going to do it, you ain't even want it no more. Put I down in the chat if you ever asked a guy to be more romantic, more consistent, honest, transparent, whatever. And then by the time he finally got his act together to doing it, probably whenever you was 1 foot out the door, 2 feet out the door, by the time he did it and he was doing it, but you didn't even want it no more. Put I down in the chat if that's ever been you. Because I know some people gonna listen to me there. You don't know what you're talking about. You just on here. You always want to talk about dick. Nah, man, I'm just keeping it real with you. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm your big brother. I'm not your guru, expert, preacher, Pat. I ain't none of that. I'm just here to give you the truth. And what you do with this is up to you. Not only have I been through enough to know what I'm talking about at this young old age, but I've seen enough. Over a decade of doing this, I've never once seen a woman fight, give everything that she had, be in a one-sided relationship, month after month, year after year, and then be the exact same version of her. Whether she left the relationship or she stayed in a relationship. Whether that man got his act together or he just was a lost cause. I've never once seen a woman remain the same. As a feminine energy, you are the responsive agent. You are the reactive, meaning you are the most likely to be impacted by how you're treated. That's why when a man treats you well, when he properly loves you, you have so much more to give to him. You meet his needs he ain't even know he had. You take care of him better than he was taking care of himself. If he's doing what he's supposed to be doing by you. Some of y'all, you thought you would never be submissive. But then you get around a masculine man who has your best interest at heart. He's protective. He's consistent. He's caring. And guess what? When that man say, hey, I want this, he ain't got to raise his voice or nothing. You never thought you had it in you to be so submissive and follow a man's lead. You always had to do it on your own, had it on your own, never gonna let no man do nothing like that. But when you got a man who never asserted himself as your superior, but he had such value to add to you. He's so consistent. He never left you with a doubt of where you stood in his life. Guess what? You fell right into line with whatever he needed because you knew you were taken care of. As if you ever had that. Some of y'all who still ain't had that, let you get around a masculine man. Let you get around an evolved man who don't play about you, who would do anything for you. And watch another side of you come forth that you might even be a stranger to. Just the more submissive, feminine. I know people, submissive. That ain't even gonna scare you when you get with the right man. That ain't even the biggest thing I'm on or whatever. I love mutual partnership. I know a lot of people's idea of submission is bad and this, that, and the other. But let me tell you something. You get with a man who's in his healthy, masculine, whole masculine core, you're gonna have zero problem making sure that he's well taken care of, that you support whatever he got going on. Because his track record with you is going to leave no doubt that that's a good investment of your energy, your fruits as a woman. But back to what I was saying about there's no way you're going to stay the same. Y'all saw the comments. You don't remain the same version of you. So there's a price that you paying for trying to hold on to this man who's honestly fighting you at every turn of how he treats you to get away from this relationship. By the time, if he even does it, you're gonna be so programmed from all of that war that you were in by yourself. You're gonna be so programmed from that if he does start doing what he's supposed to be doing, even though you thought, I always wanted this, your heart is gonna say, hold on, wait, we ain't ready for this. We already done got our armor on. The distrust done started to set in. We can't just unsee what we've been seeing for the last 6 months, 2 years, 5 years of this man being the exact opposite of everything. Like, we ain't gonna let you sleep peacefully at night. More than likely, if you had to do all of that, he ain't for you anyway. And God ain't gonna let you sleep peacefully at night because that's not who he sent for you. But one of the toughest situations to see, and I've seen this personally, I've seen it professionally. Again, more than a decade of doing this, tens of thousands of case studies I have to vouch for this. One of the saddest things is when as a woman, you get out of that relationship, you go to your space of just by yourself or whatever. But then a man finds you that actually wants to love you, who's actually safe. He's emotionally intelligent. He can bring peace to calamity and chaos. He has his situation in order so that if you ever see anything that don't seem or feel right, he can quickly make it clear to you what it really is and align anything that just continues to feel a little off to you, like he's in that space in his life. And all he wants to do is make sure that you never have to question whether or not you're a priority to him, whether or not you're loved by him. That man finds you and you're still imprinted by all the things that you went through. And not just like, oh, you went through it once, but that you continue to go through as you fought to save a relationship with the wrong man. And this new man here can't even love you. That's one of the saddest things. is to see that you're still using the tools that you needed to survive and tolerate that last relationship, but you're using it over here and they're doing nothing to thrive and cultivate deeper connection with the man that's actually for you. And then that man had to look at you and say, man, she's so golden. Like, she's amazing. Her heart is great. She's beautiful inside and out. Good character, everything. But she ain't ready for me. She can't receive me. She's still carrying the hostility. She's still carrying the distrust. She can't receive me. That's one of the saddest things in the world. Now, the good thing is that's not the end of the road. That's not the end of your story. If you've already fumbled or missed out on your blessing because you were still being impacted by what you had been through with the wrong man, I'm here to tell you that's you okay. As long as you take the right steps. And I talked about that in my free masterclass I just did. Matter of fact, none of y'all have seen this one, I know, because I'm just now making it public. But the 7 traps every empath must beware of. That's the name of the masterclass. If you want access to the free masterclass, again, I only do these a few times a year, and I'm taking this one down soon. If you want access before it comes down, click the link that you see pinned down in the comments. I talk about not only how to avoid those traps, but if you found that you've gotten caught in those traps that are typically laid out for women with big hearts, women that lead with love, women that have been put last and somewhat were complicit in that, putting themselves last because you're so selfless. Once you find somebody to love, you just all in on that. Those traps, how to avoid them and how to get up out of them and heal afterwards. There's a process to that most of y'all don't know. Because once you got into survival mode, you got stuck in survival mode. Some of y'all gave so much to that relationship. The moment you just felt the pain and the agony go away, you were good there. Like, let me just try to get used to this. And you still had not done the rest of the work to get in position for the man who can truly love you. I'm gonna tell you something. If that's you, you're still in that trap. You're still in one of those traps that are typically laid out for empaths. Now, those of y'all, you just cut, hey, look, you don't care if you was in love with him for 5 years. You cut him off today and you ready to love and be loved and intimate all over again with a new man by the night. Hey, this one ain't for you. But for those of y'all who don't open up easily, you hate starting over, you don't open up quickly. So when you do, you really lock in and you've been mishandled. More than likely, actually, it's absolutely, you got caught in one of those traps. And if you have not taken a specific set of steps to get out of that so you can get in position for your king, you're still in that trap. Hate to say it. Again, I talk more about that. It's almost about 30, 45 minutes on the masterclass. Again, click that link, register or whatever, and come back to the conversation and make sure you get access to that before it comes down. But the moral of the story is this. Learn how to walk past messes. I think that's the biggest point. Whenever you are dealing with a man who's giving you mediocrity, he's giving you half-stepping effort, he's holding back, he's lukewarm, it's easy to look at that and say, I know what would fix this. I've watched enough of Derek's live chats. I've read enough other books or whatever. I've been to this seminar. I've been through these past. I know what I could do this time that I've never done before. And maybe if I had done it before, but let me try this. I'm going to tell you what to try. Walk past that mess. If that man is not doing his part, if he's not showing up with effort and consistency, if he's not leaving you with zero doubt about whether or not he even cares enough to give you maximum effort, because really you're supposed to be with a man that can at least reciprocate your energy, if not take the lead on the quality of the relationship, going to new levels and go over and beyond. Really, that's what you're supposed to be on. But I'm gonna tell you something, in the worst of the worst of the worst, you ain't nobody's second, third, fourth option. You ain't nobody's last on the list of things they'll get to when they'll spare time. No, you the one that a man should be making time for. This is nothing, that don't cost a man nothing. I'm not talking about, he got to buy you a Birkin bag and take you on new yachts every 2 weeks. No, we ain't talking about nothing that requires stuff that man honestly may not have. Effort, free. And effort equates to interest. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Effort equates to interest. So learn to accept things. Matter of fact, I'll say this. The love that you deserve is on the other end of what you're willing to accept and not accept. Y'all got it backwards. Y'all are accepting the mistreatment and y'all are not accepting the clear signs that the man honestly just ain't that into you. But flip it. What if you were to not accept the mistreatment and accept that, hey, I'm just not him. I'm just not what he wants. I'm not what he values. Don't mean that you're not valuable. But if you start accepting, oh, either I'm not what you value, or you didn't come in prepared for me, or you're not ready to be consistent to keep me because you got too comfortable and complacent once you got me. You're too worried about what other people are thinking. You think you can do so much better than me, so you treat me like I'm the average one, like I'm below average, like I should be lucky to be with you. I accept that. And my acceptance looks like me leaving you alone. Go find that girl that you think is so much better than me. Go be with those people that you think are such an upgrade. Once you get there, sis, like, the only thing left is for you to do the part to get in position for your king. Because there's a man out there who already got every quality that you currently possess on his vision board for a wife that he wants to build with. But he cannot build with you if you're continuing to be broken down by the man God never sent for you. Yeah, get out of that trap. But those are just my thoughts. I'm your internet brother per usual, trying to look out, adding value best way I know how. If you got anything from this, don't be selfish. You'll be surprised at who you blessing by just hitting the share button. It's absolutely free. So share this if you got something of value and you want to share it to people on your timeline. Also, if you want access to my newest masterclass before it comes down for good, and it's absolutely free, click the link that you see pinned down in the comments, in the caption, wherever you see it. If you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, it's probably in the description. On Instagram, you got to put a word or something like that in order to get the link. Wherever you see the link attached to this video, click that. Another almost an hour on the 7 fatal traps that empaths fall into at the hands of manipulators. Now I'm talking about on an emotional level, of course. But again, that link down in the comments. I'll holler at y'all later. Y'all be good.